Okay. Sorry, a little late, but usually we will give it about 5-10 minutes after 9 my time, just to give it some space for people to come in. Also for me to just do some last minute sort of research as well. And okay, so welcome to today's Monday's Week Ahead by Bretton Financial Trading Academy, BFTA. My name is Kenny Simon. We are getting more we're getting more members as well of Bretton, and we still haven't really launched the Bretton Academy membership area because I'm still working on the course. So within the membership, which is only about it's only $10.99 USD per month, you get a whole course on geometric patterns inside with videos. So the course is in video format, very short videos, but we are looking into about 50 plus videos, but then it gets increased every time, and I'll have all the strategy videos in it, you know, different parts, different topics as well, so that traders can actually refer to every part of what I teach and how I trade as well. Okay, all right, so let's get going. With regards to the market condition at this moment of time, there is still a lot of focus on commodities and focus on gold's prices. Gold prices has actually hit 4-month high, and then US dollar is still weakened by the treasury bond. So this is what we spoke about in Sunday's webinar yesterday, to look at what is in store or in store for us in the coming week. We have to look at what has happened as of early today. So what has happened as of early today is still to pull down the US dollars value or prices, mainly because of its treasury position and a lot of other economical factors as well. So that is giving rise to gold at this moment of time. And also we're looking into more hints by what is going on with Dow Jones, Hang Seng Index, ASX as well, which is the Australian stocks, Chinese manufacturing data. So we want to look at all these ones that could actually help us to sort of pave the way in terms of trend in the upcoming week. But it is still looking like there is more volatility expected, liquidity expected from a lot of risk events as well. And it is looking like commodity currencies type week, and also commodities. And because we are expecting, not to forget, we mentioned yesterday about tomorrow's OPEC meeting, which is going to be a very big meeting compared to the other meetings that they have had, because Iran is coming into the picture to produce the oil. So this is probably something really big in terms of the crude oil market. So the crude oil market, as it goes, as it moves, it would actually then pull in the commodity currencies like Canadian dollar as well. So we want to look at Canadian dollar being influenced by crude oil's prices as well, and also to look at whether or not in Canada do we actually have other economic data that influences Canadian dollar as well. So we want to look at commodity currencies as a whole, including Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar, the ZAR as well, for those who are interested in trading. The ZAR, USD ZAR could be quite popular at this time as well, which is a South African rand. So that is one way of looking at it. But before we go further, perhaps we just want to always start off with looking at the market using a tool in Action Forex, using the tool in the Forex early warning. But these are tools just to get an idea of what is moving in the market at this moment of time, just to shortcut our time so that we don't really need to pull down all the pairs, you know, like one by one, look at it and then go straight onto the chart. So we don't look at the charts yet at the first stage. First stages, we just keep it simple so that we don't get confused and get clarity before we arrive onto the chart. So most traders, they just get into the chart straight away, and then they want to do the analysis based on the chart. Now, in my opinion, you need to do the analysis, trend analysis, and just overall news analysis outside of the chart. Like what I have actually done is maybe use daily FX just to look at certain titles, go on to Action Forex as well. You actually have got what do you call that, the news section up there, so you can read a little bit first, but not to go into it too deep, even if you look at the titles that comes up. So if I were to go onto Google as well and I type in let's say gold forecast, okay, so gold forecast right here, yeah, and then I go to the news section here. I just want to look at the title. So 2 days ago, that's 1 day ago, so yesterday, and it says gold forecast bright on week USD. So that is confirming what is happening today as well. It is still weak on USD, and silver eyes multi-year high. So silver, gold and silver is looking like they are merging into creating loads of buying opportunity. Okay, so gold prices, as it says here, 1.5% to 1905. So we've got some areas that we have marked onto the technical chart, but we need these kind of news and what is going on in the news just to give us a little bit of fuel so that we are riding along number one, the most popular trades or most popular instruments that are moved by the big boys. Then we pick the right instrument, then we actually do another trend analysis and through technical analysis on the chart. Okay, so we need to start out of the chart first, then we go into the chart. So here on Action Forex, just to give you a bit of an idea in terms of trend, in terms of market participation, we can see that there's a lot of focus on the top 10 here as of today, a lot of focus on the Australian dollar. Okay, so you can see all the AUD on the Australian dollar crosses. So we've got loads of focus on Australian dollar. So it is actually commodity currency as well. It's confirming that we've got a lot of interest on the Australian dollar as well as the Canadian dollars. You can see both commodity currency is the number one today, and that moved the most basically. So this table here tells you roughly top 10 movers, which basically means the participation into the market, how active it was as of the Asian Open, I would guess. But then we don't have very accurate data. All these things here are not actually to be used. We just want to see how it's laid out, which are the focused currency and currency crosses. Okay, so now the focus is AUD. So I write down AUD, I pay attention to AUD as well. And then I want to make sure that whether or not AUD is good for us to trade in terms of the volume, whether or not it is moving quite fast, whether the trend is really clear, do we actually have patterns, then we plan the entry, exits, and stop losses. Okay, so here we go. Also, out of all these 10 right here, the only one that has four dots, meaning each one dot on each time frame from 4 hour right to the monthly chart, which basically gives us a little bit more clarity in terms of trend. So there is a clarity of trend, but we cannot follow this saying it's negative here, meaning it is down for CAD, up for JPY. We don't see it like that. We just mark it down CAD JPY as having a form of clarity in terms of trend, but what is the right trend? We don't know. We don't follow the table for the trend because we need to always do a trend analysis on our own onto the chart. So we just list down the pairs and we are picking the pairs only at this stage. So every time in the beginning, we are just looking at the news and whatever that is out of the chart, just so that we are able to look at the clear trend. Then we can pick a pair. So we pick pairs like that. That would actually help us to be more to be riding the trend a little bit better, so that we don't get stuck with the currency pairs. If we don't pick it this way, we will get stuck with the trend, and then we want to go and trade more, and then we have to leave the one that we have picked wrongly to float, because the ones that we pick wrongly, meaning that the ones that are not really moved, by the big boys. We want the pairs that are focused by the big boys, creating a lot of liquidity, creating liquidity created as well. A lot of participation goes in. Then we know they are popular for now, for today. And then we pick it that way. It's better so that we know that if the big boys are interested in this pair, they will prolong the trend, then we can ride the wave, and then the trend will become more and more solid. So there's a marathon of trend. And if we pick the pair that way and we ride along the pair that way, and we do the technical analysis and the trend analysis on our own, that would actually increase your probability to actually trade consistently. Okay, so this is basically the main step that is actually quite simple to do, but then most traders are missing this step out. They go and jump straight into technical analysis, looking for patterns, doing the strategy, applying the EA. When you do that at the first instance, you get to miss out the most important ingredient, which is the one that are before the technical chart. Okay, before the technical chart, which is you need to understand the clarity of trend, the market sentiments, the latest news. Because if you go straight onto the chart and not listening about anything that is latest, just in case, what if there is an earthquake in the major city somewhere, touch wood, or something, and then it halts all the stocks and everything, and then you've got a very, very strong trend there, whether it's on the downside, upside, things like that. So we need to be aware of these kind of stuff. So now what we need to be aware is that the whole world is actually in a commodity mode. And one of the biggest event that is that the big boys, politicians and all that are awaiting is actually tomorrow's OPEC meeting. Okay, so that is the number one event. So we need to be aware of that event, have it at the back of our head, and not ignore that, because a lot of things can actually happen through the news as of today, from today onwards. A lot of things can actually mess up with your EA, mess up with all the indicators and stuff like that, because it is driven by geopolitics, news, and everything else. So we want to trade like that. We want to trade following what we hear as well, and then technically confirm what we hear and what we see in the news and all that kind of stuff. So that is the trading sort of concept for this week. For this week, we have to trade like that. Okay. So let's just see. So we've got CAD, JPY here. Top three are all AUD crosses. AUD against Canadian dollar, AUD against USD, and also the GBP. So I just want to write down CAD JPY first, and then write down AUD crosses. And then I want to take a look at the AUD CAD, AUD USD, and also AUD GBP. So now we've got a rough idea here. I still want to look at the trend as well. So I go on to the currency heat map right here, and then we go and we just take a look at this is the generic table on the daily chart. Okay, looks clear in a way whereby you've got most currencies right here is a little bit more bullish than the USD, which is very clear here, but not extremely bullish, just fairly bullish, because it's a light blue, not dark blue. So we've got that confirmation again that the USD is weak, which is good. In the headline news, it's weak. In the top 10 table, it's weak again. And then when we look at USD right here as well, against the euro, you've got it 4-hour chart. It's got a bit of a mix, so it's not very clear yet. So maybe it's waiting for London Open for the trend to be clearer. So we don't see dark blue columns or dark red columns at the moment, but we can see that, let's say overall, CAD is looking quite bullish right there, building up with certain dark blues, but not very clear. Okay, so we want to leave it some more time for the trend clarity to emerge. The trend is not clear enough at this moment of time, but we know where the market is going roughly. USD is on the downside, gold is on the upside, but when do we actually trade on the upside for gold? When do we trade for selling the USD crosses? That is where we go onto the charts, we pick the right pair. After we've picked the right pair, and then we plan our entries, our exits, looking at the risk and all that. That is all done on the technical side of it. Okay, but that is done after we have evaluated the market, generally, just briefly, through news and everything else, heat maps and everything else. Then we pick the right pair, then we move on to the chart. Okay, all right, so we've got action bias right here as well. Now, action bias wise, let's see if we go like this. You can see we're looking for a whole row that's either all blue or all red, so that we get a bit of an idea. Now, GBP JPY looks like it has built some trend following I think it is the 6-hour chart onwards, right to the monthly chart. So it looks like it's upward. Only the shorter term tight time frame is on the downside. So Euro JPY the same from 6 hours onwards to the upside. So we've got Euro on the upside, GBP on the upside. Okay, then what we can also do is look at volatility chart. Now, because it's commodity currencies, we went to the top 10 movers, and then we see that we have got a lot of Australia focus, and then we also see CAD/JPY to be having clarity in 4 time frames. So let's look at Australian dollar on the 4-hour daily chart on this volatility tool. We want to look at we want to ask the question of Australian dollar, which other currency would it actually be good to combine with? When we look at the top 10 movers, it's focused a lot. So we want to pay attention to AUD crosses. And then we want to look at AUD versus which other currency will be very volatile today. And then it points out here that AUD versus GBP, it's quite volatile. So it's very volatile, right, on the daily chart. So I want to list down GBP AUD. Okay, I want to combine these two, and I want to look at the chart. I want to see whether it has clear trend or not, because I know it's volatile. It's good to trade on volatile one, but carefully. And then I see that AUD is good to combine with Euro, with CAD and CHF. So I want to also look at AUD combining with Euro. Okay, also with GBP, of course, CHF and CAD. So CHF and CAD, and it's good because we have CAD again in the picture, so we need to pay attention to CAD crosses as well, being a commodity currency. Now, as you can see, CAD is good to combine with in terms of volatility with AUD and NZD. So then I want to also, even JPY as well. So then I list down CAD. I want to look at combining it with NZD, with AUD, and also with JPY. So I've got quite a number now to analyze, and you have streamlined these currencies. So we'll start off with the AUD crosses. Okay, and then we've got the CAD JPY to look at. When we pick the pairs to look at, then we go on to the chart. So we've got AUD versus Euro versus CHF versus CAD. We have CAD versus NZD, AUD, and JPY. So there you go. So now it's getting a bit clearer. So I just want to focus on the AUD pairs and the CAD pairs for now, and also the US crosses, meaning the major pairs as well. Always we look at major pairs first, and then we look at all these special pairs too. Okay, so let's get going. We can then go on to that. And once we look at all the currencies as well, we can also look into gold and oil as well. Okay, so let's now lay out the pairs that we have talked about. So we'll start off with the AUD crosses. Let's see. So for AUD, now AUD, we go to the majors first. Sorry, we go to the majors first. So I want to start anew. So let's look at Euro USD. Okay, we start off with the most traded currency pair first. and see what's going on here. Now, USD, as we've seen the news and all that, also if we have a quick look at gold, just to make sure what is happening to gold so we get a bit of an idea what's happening with the US dollar. It looks like it's still appreciating. This is on the daily chart. If we go on to the 1 hour chart, let's say, it's retreating a little bit. Overall trend is still to the upside. We can see all these 3 EMAs as well for gold signaling more upward movement, more bullishness until the daily chart as well. And then we go to the weekly chart. It is still to the upside quite clearly as well. Maybe there's some potential reversal, but overall trend from short, medium to short term, maybe a bit of reversal is expected for gold. And overall strength and trend would actually be bullish for gold, and mainly because of USD. So USD is still seen as weak. So what we do then is, not sure where the Euro USD is. Give me a second. Okay, there you go, sorry. Right here. Okay, so with the Euro USD, we expect more upward movement, right? Because of the USD being expected to be on the weak side. But let's do the trend analysis on the technical charts on your candlestick chart right now. And here, for example, is just above on the 4 hour chart. It's still moderately bullish, mainly because of the way the current candles are moving together with the 3 EMA lines as well. It is not, the 3 lines are not really tilted to the upside pointing to the sky, but it's slightly above. So it is moderately only bullish or weakly bullish. So on the daily chart as well, it's got more space, I think, to the upside. It's looking like it wants to move up higher than lower for the euro versus the USD. The only thing is that if I go into the daily chart, let's say, to see it from a big pictures perspective, we have got a bit of a resistant area right here. And if we look at this area here and then the wick as well, that is sort of the area that it needs to burst through and then tell us that it wants to go up a bit more before bursting through this area. This is still a resistant area. Okay, now let me just see. Resistant area or resistance zone, I'll color it red right here. Okay, so this is your resistance zone. Anywhere between the two yellow lines is at 2239, 2240 and 2170, 2176 here. And this is very close to the 80 psychological number. This one here very close to the 50 psychological number. So it needs to be up, burst out, break out from this rate zone upwards, and then reach 2260. Okay, has to reach 2260 to be an ideal place to buy. So it is still very far away, right? So it's very far away from considering buy at this moment of time because the price is not right. So whatever trend that you are thinking it is, or whatever decision you think you want to do with Euro US, you want to buy, you want to sell, it's just not right timing in terms of price, especially. And it is very likely in a resistance zone at this moment of time. So we want it to confirm, we want the market to confirm with us what it wants to do. In my opinion, it looks like it is more favoring a downward type movement in terms of a correction because you've got resistance right there, but we don't know until it comes out of that rate zone. So it needs to come out of that rate zone, whether downside or upside, it depends on the market. So we follow the market, we ride on the trend that it wants to do, but then we plan accordingly by riding the trend. So 2279, no, I think that's 2260, 2260. There you go. Oh, sorry. Okay, so this is the area. The price needs to go and touch the 2260 area and looking like it's really bullish, and then something on fundamental news and all that for euro is very positive. Then you start buying. So you can start buying at 1.2260. onwards for Euro USD. Not now. Now it's too early, because what could actually happen is a retracement of price coming down, and then opening up the chance to come downwards and make a correction. So if it does come downwards, then you can actually go into a sell as well, if you guys prefer to sell, only upon breakout. And you can, I think, sell until the 2090 area. So I'll mark the 2090. 2090, 2100 would be safer. So 210, 2110, 2110. This is short-term sell. 2110 and 2170 will be your selling price. Give me a second. 0. Rate. Now, for the selling side, the price is 2170, and then take profit at 2110. Okay, this is if it is due to actually change. But the thing about it is that because the overall trend, I mean, from the news and everything else, USD is weaker. So the overall trend for Euro USD that I wish to write personally as a trader is on the upside. So I wouldn't, as a trader, because I'm a very strict trend trader. So even though it retraces or reverses, I wouldn't take that usually. But most other traders, maybe they want to ride the up and the down as well, depending on the market. So that's fine as well. But if you are looking into selling in an upward market, then you need to be prepared with the risk as well. Okay, so you want to take lower risk as well. And then if it comes down, then if it bursts downwards, open breakout from the rate zone, and then you want to sell it at 1.2170, you want to take profit at 1.2110. So then your little profit on the downside, they will be worth at, not little, actually it's quite reasonable, 60 pips or so there. That is to the downside here. Okay, on the upside, we don't know yet, because it's just too early for me to decide on the upside. I'm just looking at the resistance here, and there is a potential that it wants to resist. We've got some more resistance there as well. And then it's very likely it wants to create downward momentum, maybe as a correction. So we want to also see whether or not maybe USD is picking up a little bit now as a correction, and gold is actually looking like it's going down as a correction as well. So then it is justifying that Euro USD is also doing the same. So there may be a little bit of downward movement for Euro, and we want to look at whether or not there's some data out there for Euro that is going to be on the downside, and then whether there's some data or news that is pushing up the USD a little bit. Okay, so then you can actually do a sell there based on that, and then just sell a little bit and make that 60 pips on the downside. So that is basically for most traders who are monitoring the market quite a lot, not really on a pending order, then you guys are trading on both sides, trend trading and anti-trend as well, because you're monitoring the market quite often, and you can afford to actually take, you know, small movements, reversal movements, or reversal trades as well. And that's entirely up to yourself to do it. For Euro USD, there is a chance right there for a downward movement, 60 pips on the sell side. It's looking like it is definitely to the downside quite strongly as well. Even on the 1 hour chart for Euro USD, you can see it's just resistance really strong at this area right here. It's also trading at 1.2188 at the moment. So as it falls and it goes under the 2180 psychological level and it reaches 1.2170, then you know that there are more bears or more sellers entering the market, and that will be your selling price as well, 1.2170. Okay, so there you go. This is for the short term Euro USD, what you can actually do, all right, at this moment of time. I'm seeing that more potential to the downside. It probably will start falling. If it does actually fall down a little bit more and then reaches the 2110 and then go even more, I can see that we have got more bearish mother candles waiting on the left, meaning that there is this area right here could actually be creating more selling opportunities. Okay, so down here. And on top of that, it has created a sort of double top as well, which is a pattern that would pull down prices much more than push up the prices. So if it were to actually go up, let's say 1.2260 onwards, the space that it could go up to is just limited as well, because you have got all this area right here. Okay, so all this area is resistance. See, so your space there is probably about, let's say, from 2660 to about 2398 area, let's say, or let's say 90 area. That's 134 pips space right there, but that is far away still. So maybe it wants to buy lower first to get it downwards, and then bounce up later on to burst through that area. So we don't know that yet. So it's looking like something might actually happen in the news, or something that might actually pull down euro. So this is what we can write along for now in terms of short term for euro USD, okay, being the major pair. All right, so let's also look at I wanted to look at the Euro USD. Already we finished with Euro USD. We'll look into AUD crosses. I want to look at the economic calendar at this moment of time. Give me a second. Okay, so we have economic calendar, a FX tree. Okay. All right, so we just look at it generically. What could be this week's economic data releases be? So Monday today is the 31st. We have got the most high impact data is coming from Germany, so it would impact euro. So it says here harmonized index of consumer prices, right? So if I were to go to, it says here consumer price, index consumer prices. Okay, so it's called harmonized index, right? So if I go here, Germany harmonized index, just to look at the news. 6 hours ago, it says Euro USD teases the 1.22. We've got US pullback, German HICP inflation. So the German HICP, let's say German ICP inflation. Let's look at any news here. So 5 hours ago, precious gold stays above. US inflation data lifts appeal. Okay. European equities, member state inflation figures may focus. Let's just type Euro zone economy just to get an idea. 2 days ago, Italian rebound helps Eurozone recovery from pandemic recession. So we've got Italy, not too bad economy-wise. Let's say Germany. 3 days ago, Germany must learn to live with a little inflation. Okay, so looking like a possibility of euro lifted upwards, but we don't know that yet. So we just want to keep it low as of now for euro USD. So okay, so let's get going with a little bit on the economic calendar as well. Not sure why, but the economic calendar is playing up a little bit when you want to put it for the whole week, but let's try this week. Okay, now it doesn't actually appear. Right, Monday, weird. 31st to, let's say, Friday the 4th. Okay. Something, it doesn't appear, or it probably needs time. So looking at today's one, we have got the Chinese data as well, and hence the reason we looked at the how we call that, the top 10 movers, and Australia was focused. And usually when something happens in China, now they've got nice positive numbers right here. So positive in a way, the non-manufacturing. So that would actually be usually positive for the Australian dollar as well. Okay, so there you go. All right, let's get to the charts at the moment, and let's look at Australia pair. So Australia, I want to look into Australia versus the GBP, the Euro, the CHF, and the CAD. So let's get going with this area. We can actually take that off. So AUD versus Euro. So Euro AUD first. Let's see. There you go. Now, okay. So now with Euro AUD, we can see that it is giving us bullish sentiment, Euro AUD. So Euro AUD looking good with upward movement, but it's doing a bit of a correction. So it is hinting us that something might actually just make Euro correct first. That means come down first before it goes upwards. But then overall, I mean, if it is Euro versus AUD, it is still considered weaker than the AUD. But do we actually have clarity of trend? Not really. It is not very clear in 3 time frames as well. We've got 1 hour chart looking like this. For example, we've got downward type movement. The 3 lines is not really very strong to the upside. And we go on to the 4 hour, it's clearer to the upside in general uptrend, but then the price is definitely retracting, reversing at this moment of time. And what I can see is perhaps we want to look at the bearish type zone first as well, driven by bearish mother candle right here. So this area right there. Okay, so I can see that there's some more selling spaces, and at the end of this candle, bearish candle right here is priced at 57.40, and above the 57.40 is 57.50 psychological number. So then we want to put the psychological number there, 57.50. Okay, which basically means that let me just color it blue for support area, which means that now price is at 57.78. Now it's falling. So you've got a bit of a sell opportunity right there, and it may drop to another 20 plus pips, 27 pips or so. So you can actually, if you want to sell, any traders who are thinking of selling the Euro AUD to ride the correction at this moment of time can actually you need to exit at 57, 1.5760. So you will make about 17 pips or so. So there is a short-term type sell, 17 pips or so. And you can sell now basically, and then take profit at 57.60. But this is a risk just for short-term traders to sort of get that. And I think it will find support there, and it's very close to the 50 EMA as well. And then travel upwards again for the Euro AUD. So it's correcting at this moment of time, but I think there is some more movement to the upside for Euro. But it is correcting a little bit right here. It's not going to correct too much though, the Euro AUD. So that's the status. It doesn't give me very clear selling and all that at this moment of time, just that little bit there for now for Euro AUD. We'll move on to AUD GBP as well. So let's look at AUD GBP, GBP CAD, GBP AUD, GBP AUD. Right. So here on the daily chart, not very nice, very clear 3 EMAs right there on the daily chart. It's all on the sideways for GBP AUD on the weekly chart. We go on the 4 hour chart. It's looking to the upside, but it is correcting in terms of all the candles, GBP versus the AUD. So what we can see is that AUD crosses, it seemed like AUD is the one that is having more strength to the upside. I think maybe because of the Chinese data that are positive as well. So the AUD is riding on a positive side of it. So most of the crosses of AUD would actually be to the, AUD to be bullish and the other currency to be bearish. So here it is giving me hints that overall trend to the upside for GBP, but when I go into the daily chart, it start to entangle. So there is no very strong trend to the upside for GBP. It looks like it may want to correct at the moment to the downside here. And if we go to the left a little bit, you've got some bearish candle right there. And once it comes lower, I think it would have more selling pressure. So maybe it wants to buy low. So you pull down the prices first and then to go up later on. We've got a major resistance area right here, could actually be support as well at the 82.80 area. So I would say 83.00 is quite a significant support area. So 83.00, let me just do that. So 83.00 is your support area. If you're selling right now for GBP AUD, it's got some space to fall, and it is trading at 83.55 now. So if you are looking at selling, maybe you want to wait at 83.40 to enter at 1.8340. So if you enter at 1.8340, you can exit at 1.8310. So that is about 30 pips potential, just a bit of a sell opportunity, because we've got uptrend is still looking like it's strong, but it's got a little bit of correction reversal at the moment. So for those who are thinking of selling, yes, you can sell now and then take profit at 1.8310, but it is a risk, yeah, because this is, we are anti-trending if we are doing that, mainly just to grab some pips on the reversal and make sure you have stop loss though. Okay. All right, so that's your GBP AUD. Now, AUD versus AUD CAD and AUD USD will be our next one. So we look at AUD. Let's look at the major first. So AUD USD. There you go. Now let's look at AUD USD on the 4-hour, or let's say the daily chart first. Looking like moderately bullish, but not very confident type bullishness at the moment, AUD versus the USD. Not very nice in terms of long-term either. We've got all this entanglement of the 3 EMA lines. Let's check on to the 30 minutes. Now, on the 30 minutes, it's in between the 3 lines. So no clear trend. I wouldn't actually start even trading or coming up with patterns, looking out for patterns or anything like that when I see candles in between the 3 lines. And here it's just moving downwards, total opposite of the 30 minutes chart. When I move to the 1 hour, it moved lower. The 3 lines move lower, the candles as well, they move lower. When I go to the 4 hour, it moved even lower. And then on the daily chart, it's got a bit of a correction. So it's not clear. It's not a pair that is worth looking at this moment of time. It's going to cause a lot of confusion for AUD USD. So we'll just pass AUD USD and we go to AUD CAD. And let's look at AUD CAD at the moment. Okay, so AUD CAD on the daily chart, a bit of entanglement. It is on the downside right now, so it's showing that CAD may be stronger. Let's build a story. We start off with a shorter time frame. Not very nice AUD CAD right there. Let me also just perhaps use the RSI right here just to see whether I can draw some trend line on the RSI itself. I don't use the overbought. I don't use the RSI as an overbought indicator, but mainly overbought or oversold. I just like to draw the trend line right here. So here, for example, if you imagine the RSI 5 to be your chart, line chart, then you want to draw it like this. And you can see that it is still on the upside in a way, but then it might break. If it break this yellow line, that means it prefers to go to the downside. That was on the 30-minute chart only. So here it is still up, okay, and it's approaching, still got some room to approach, come down here, but overall it's picking up on the uptrend for AUD CAD at this moment of time. It is still reversing, coming downwards at this moment of time, and more strength to the downside, it looks like it. But then something is picking up. Something may actually promote the AUD to pick up as well. It looks like it. It's just wanting to pick up, but we've got resistance, of course. But it is wanting to pick up. The market itself is showing that it wants to pick up. See this area right here. Now, on the daily chart, it's trading at 93.30. And if I go a little bit to the left, there is a little bit of a bullish area and quite strong support area. So I will change this to bullish zone type area. And the price has just gone into it. So I would suspect that maybe there will be some news factor, something like that, that would actually, create buying opportunity to go upwards. So then we can see that from the area, the price area of 93.20 onwards, is starting to be the entry of bullish area, 93, let's say 20. And I'll change that to yellow so it's visible. There you go. And then the end of the bullish candle is here. Okay. Right. So there seem to be something that wants to push the AUD versus the CAD upwards quietly, but there is a possibility for it to go up. There is some bullishness here, bullish candle, more bullish candle there, some more support here, and I think you can actually, there may be some catalyst, something that might push it on the news side, data side, what's going on in China in terms of manufacturing becoming more positive, then that might push up the AUD. And that's basically what I feel might actually happen right here. So even with the RSI as well, we can see that it's quite bullish. This is on a daily chart. If I were to draw a trend line right here, and what we will be waiting for is the break. That means that blue line to go up, break that yellow line, then it would actually tell us that yes, there are more bullish bulls coming into the market. At this moment of time, AUD CAD is trading at 93.28.29, very close to 93.30. 93.30 you can start to buy. So if you're buying at 93.30, you let it go, and you can exit at 93.70 as well. So you've got about 40 pips there to make. So this is or buy now and take the risk as well, but there is a fair amount of buyers, I think, coming into AUD, pushing AUD up, but it's quite early, but it may be an opportunity to buy here for AUD CAD. It's based on the daily chart, but if I go on to even the weekly chart and I analyze the candle itself, I can see that it's picking up very nicely and strongly, even though it's, visually, it doesn't actually look really long bullish candle, but it's picking up quite well with no wick at the top, which basically means a lot of space for it to move upwards. Okay, there's no wick to weaken the or weaken or exhaust the buyers. At this moment, the buyers are coming in steadily, so there is a potential right there. Also, I want to monitor this area right here. That is 93.46. Okay, so once it goes above the 93.40 onwards, I think it will pick up even more. So there is a possibility here to buy. Let's just one look at the 1 hour chart. Okay, it needs to go above all these EMAs as well. 4 hour may take a little bit of time, but I think by today, maybe another couple of hours or so, there may be some news factor that pushes either pushes the Australian dollar up or pulls the CAD downwards. Okay, maybe got to do with oil, something like that. We don't know. So yeah, there is a potential, but that was based on the daily and weekly chart right there in the blue zone. So it is actually already traveling in within a blue zone right here. It wants to pick up a lot. So there is opportunity there a little bit for the short term right there. Okay, in within that blue zone. Okay, so next one. We have already seen Euro USD, Euro AUD, GBP AUD, AUD USD, now AUD CAD, and the next one, AUD GBP, we've already done. All the AUDs are done here, I think. Okay, so CAD, NZD, CAD, AUD, and CAD JPY. Let's start with CAD JPY first. Right there. So it will probably be quite interesting. I mean, the first look itself is very clear uptrend, very clear, very nice uptrend with the 3 lines as well on the daily chart for CAD JPY. In terms of ADX as well, very strong. We go into the 4-hour chart, let's say. We can see the same in terms of the 3 lines, in terms of the candles as well, bullish, but we haven't seen the pickup of trend strength yet based on the ADX on the 4-hour chart. On the 1-hour, very clear uptrend as well, just haven't picked up yet. So what that means is that overall trend is very clear to the upside, uptrend for CAD JPY, but in terms of timing, not just yet to go up straight away. But only because I think if I go onto the weekly chart, it's very clear that I have risk as well. We have got some very, very strong resistance at the 9100 area. Okay, so I think we wait a little bit and we leave it to go above 9100 and above. So 9110 above, maybe we can start buying. But let's take a look at the 4-hour chart first. We can see a lot of bullishness here with mother candles as well has driven the price upwards. What we need to know though is above the 9107 area, in the past, do we actually have mother candles or not to support us if we want to buy at 9110 area? Okay, so let's see, or 9130, 9110 or 9130. See above, this is a very strong resistance, has actually fallen quite drastically. There is a big fall, and that fall is 1000 plus pips. So that is a very significant fall. So we're going to take a look at this resistance and some more resistance right here. But above this resistance, have we got any buying power in the past? That is what we have to look for. So it doesn't really look very convincing that there are some buying power. There are some here and maybe here a little bit, here a little bit. So the shortest candle, I'm going to mark this in red. Okay, as resistant is the shortest mother candle. Let's say that one there. Okay, that's the shortest mother candle right there. So the space to go up from the 9100 onwards, more or less about 200 pips up, there is some space to buy about 200 pips. So yes, we can break that up, but we want more confirmation. We want to be safer as well. So my suggestion, CAD JPY, yes, we can buy, but not now. We can buy and do perhaps a pending order at 91 just to be safer. I would look at it at 91 and above. But here, for example, let's say if we want to buy now, there is a bit of a potential. There is this mother candle right here, some more space. People could have traded all this here and this mother candle on the 4-hour chart itself earlier on. That's worth about 58 pips. So yes, we have the potential, but right now the price is at 90.85, and then your next psychological level up is 9100. So it's not much space from 9100 to 9107 where the main resistance is, and then we've got their next resistance here as well, which is right at the finishing of that mother candle there at 9100. So it is psychological level as well. So I think if you want to actually buy and look into buying, it's probably best to wait until price breaks out from 9100. So you've got two choices of buy prices, 9110 or 9130. For me, I think I would prefer personally to just do a pending order at 9130, just so that I am sure that the market is really strong to the upside for CAD JPY, and I don't want to get caught into reversals and things like that. So I would rather put it here. So that is where I would buy at 9130. Now I need to know whether or not above 9130, do I actually have these mother candles in the past to actually support me and have some bullish momentum above 9130. Now, above 9130, I have to go quite far to look for it. But yes, we do have this bullish candle right here. Not that one, sorry, 9130 we're looking at. The blue line is here. So above 9130, yes, we have something here. And that ended around here, okay, at 92.78. So 92.70 area. So okay, we've got a candle that is worth opportunity for buy that is worth about 100 plus pips, let's say 150 pips, but above 91.30. So I think I would probably take it safe and do a pending order for CAD JPY buying at 91.30 and then exiting at 91.90. So I'm happy with just about 60 pips or so. I wouldn't go too high too soon for my TP. So I will take about 60 pips, but that is only on pending order. I just want to leave the market to marinate the price more, and I want to do a pending order buying at 91.30, TP at 91.90. So that's 60 pips potential. And I will put my stop loss at about 100 pips or so, okay, or even 90 or 100 pips or so. So yeah, that's basically it. The strength of the upside looks to be quite strong with the ADX as well. You can see that it's above 25 starting from the daily chart, weekly chart as well. Also only on the 4-hour chart, not yet. So it takes some time to pick up the strength. Hence the reason I think a pending order would be better for CAD JPY. Okay, that's basically it. So we have done CAD JPY. Let's look at CAD AUD and CAD NZD. Okay, so CAD NZD. That CAD, I think maybe not in here, or do we actually have it? CAD, let's just look at CAD AUD first. CAD AUD, do we look at it? No. So this is USD CAD. CAD Euro is up there. CAD CHF. CAD AUD. We've already looked at CAD AUD when we looked at the AUD crosses. Now it's probably best CAD JPY. We've already looked at CAD NZD. Not really necessary for us, mainly because we have seen CAD AUD. It's probably better if we straight away look at gold as well. Oil and gold. Oil is looking good for the upside we've mentioned about yesterday. So we just want it to cross over certain areas. But let's look at gold. Okay, so gold, I've put in the price for gold for you to buy anytime, basically. So it's still on the upside. It's just that we've got a risky area right here at this opening price of this mother candle right here with a very strong wick to the upside. So a lot of strong sellers there at the 190250 area, 54. So it is still looking like a possibility, but then maybe corrective as well, because USD is picking up. Maybe gold will actually go down a little bit, but not a massive correction, hopefully. But here it's already begun to sort of correct, and there may be a potential for it to come down to the 1898 area. So selling potential first, not buying potential yet. So then it needs to go above the 1907 above to give it more room to the upside. So that's for gold. Overall, still strength to the upside, but expected for it to actually come down first. Okay, so when we want to buy as well, you can either buy anytime or arrange a pending order. I'm only a pending order type trader, so I don't really spot trade or trade on the spot too much for myself. And basically just to keep me safe in terms of not over trading or trading too much, and also to enter at sort of the right timing. Now, if we look at the buy side of it, the current price 1904 currently is already at the base of a opening price of a mother candle here. So we do have this area as a buy zone, and it's still in the buy zone as well. It's just that it's correcting at this moment of time, but it is in a buy zone. So you could choose to buy now, but then it's your risk as well, because it's actually it probably want to ride along this mother candle right here, or even mother candle of shorter term mother candles as well, like this one here, or even right down here, and then find support in this area and then go up. So you would need to, if you choose to sell and buy now, then you would actually be floating, or you could even choose to sell a little bit now until it reaches this support here and then start buying later on as well. So that is the entire difference. I mean, the strategy and all that remains the same for everybody, but the style of trading, of what you want to do personally, will be highly dependent on yourself. Whether you want to anti-trend or not, or you want to just wait for buying, or you want to sell a little bit now, make a little bit, and then when it comes to buy, you want to buy as well. So yeah, that's entirely up to yourself. Okay, so now it looks like it might actually correct first before it goes up further. So yeah, that is for gold prices at this moment. Okay, all good. All right, any questions so far in the pairs that you guys are looking at? Any questions on the pairs that you guys are looking at, or questions for anything? Any questions, guys? No questions at all? Okay, no questions. Okay, all right. Okay, guys. So if no questions, we can end the session. But for any questions, you guys can direct PM me at any moment of time, no problems. And we'll take it from there. I think we are expecting loads of movements, but it's still a bit early as of today, Monday. But then I think it'll pick up quite soon, especially after tonight and also early tomorrow, mainly because of the reaction to the OPEC meeting. And the OPEC meeting tomorrow will start, and a lot of data will actually be spun in the mainstream media, news, and all that. And we will see loads of movements, a lot of news, because the news will relate to geopolitics as well, relationship between US and Iran, anything that is said there, and then Europe and Iran, and then Russia and Iran, all kind of stuff, and then China and Iran. So then it will actually stir up a lot of things and correlate and connect the dots with other things as well. So I would see it as an opportunity to actually create lots of volatility and also liquidity. Okay, guys, so that's all I have for you guys at this moment of time. So with anything, you can connect with me on the either in the YouTube comment section, the Facebook, Telegram group, in any way possible. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much for your time. Take care and happy pipping for the whole week. And we'll see you guys again on Wednesday, the midweek webinar. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.